It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, both at home and also in diaspora. Hope you all are doing well today. Thank you very much for those who are subscribed. Thank you for those who will still subscribe. So, in case you're coming across this channel for the first time, this is Property Matters. This is where we discuss everything real estate, whether you're buying, you're selling, you're leasing. You need information. You need any information about title perfection. You need an updated information of what is going on in Ibeju Lekki, what is going on in Lekki, what is going on in Aja, what is going on generally in the real estate market. I want to buy, I want to sell, I want to lease. This is the right channel. So do yourself a great favor by subscribing to this channel, because we are going to be giving you insightful information. All right, so let's quickly go into today's topic. I'm so excited because this is going to be the final series on why some real estate developers sell committed land to investors. So today's topic is going to be insightful and educative. Of course, we will not give you less. So without wasting too much time, let's quickly go into the topic. Now, today I'm going to be talking about why some developers sell committed real estate properties. And today's emphasis is going to be on why this practice is now becoming a norm. The very first thing is that, number one, the reason why real estate developers sell committed property is that, number one, they sell more than what they have. There have been some cases here in Lagos, Nigeria, of some developers not being able to allocate landed property to people who have bought. In fact, we hear cases of 2 years ago, I bought a land. Before I was speaking with a woman, and she told me she bought a property for like 2 years ago, and she has not been allocated. Some cases are even worse, 3 years ago. And sometimes we're wondering what exactly could be the reason. Why do we have repeated cases of such complaint? And one of the things I want you to understand basically is that, number one, developers sell more than what they have. They sell more than what they have. There's no hidden fact about this. That's just the truth. They sell more than what they have. Like, for instance, if they launch an estate of 20 acres, so when it is on sale, of course, a lot of people are posting those estates online. A lot of people are calling investors to come and invest. So when people rush into that estate, instead of them closing sales and let people know that the estate is sold out, so what they do is that they keep selling with the hope that they will get another estate in order to replace it. So in most cases, the reverse has always been the case. I know cases whereby some developers are selling some estate, the fact that the estate has been sold out, and they have this high hopes that, of course, they will get some acres of land from some properties, and the case has been disappointing because the reverse has always been the case. So when developers sell more than what they have, they are desperate. Most times they're always desperate to get a landed property to allocate those who they have sold to. I'm telling you this. That's why it is very possible for a land to have approved excision. And that's why sometimes you see one estate phase 1, one estate phase 2, one estate phase 3. So sometimes once the phase 1 is sold out, they will tell you they have extension. They will tell you they have annex 2. They have this, they have this, they have this. Now the question is, if the property you bought has approved excision as title, I've gone further to explain what these things are. Okay, so in case you want to know more, just quickly scroll to the previous videos that we've done. Of course, you will find educative information on it. So let's say the phase 1 have approved excision. I've also maintained in this episode that in most cases, 70% of most cases, the title most times does not cover all the acres. I've also said that when government is giving excision, government don't give excision on all the acres of land. This is because they know that at some point the properties will be needed. So let's say, for instance, if the property is 20 acres, government may give excision for, let's just say, maybe 5 or 10 acres. Most times 5 acres or 10 acres, depending on the project that is coming onto that region. So when you buy a phase 1 and there's an extension and you pay for that extension, the tendency that the phase 1 and phase 2 may not have the same title is very high. And that is why on this episode today, I would want to encourage you, if you have bought a property and you are yet to pay the statutory fees. Now, let me tell you, real estate is a big business here in Lagos, Nigeria. Real estate, as far as some people are concerned, is a source of livelihood. So people will go to any length to stay in the business. Now, if you have bought a property in Lagos and you are yet to pay the statutory fees. Now, the chances of you not getting the title which they claim the process and the estate have is high. Let me explain. This is how it works. If the phase one of the property has excision, just know very well that the excision may not cover all the land. Of course, we established that. Now, in cases whereby the land is sold out and they have to get an extension or they have to get additional property, they will tell you, okay, we have phase two. Do you understand? So in most cases, the land may be excision and the extension or the phase two or the phase three may be proposed excision. Do you understand? So for the fact that some lands or some estates are within the same vicinity does not mean they carry title. And that is why, despite the fact that they've told you, you still need to verify. So what you need to do is, if you have bought an estate and you have not paid the statutory fees, you have to do that as soon as possible, so that when you get allocated, you can confirm where you have been allocated. You can confirm the status of where your plot falls in, if it's within that title or outside that title. So delaying statutory fees obviously is not a good idea. Forget what this letter. Some letters will tell you you can pay for other fees when the land when you are ready to build. In real estate, is a business is always a business of first come first serve. So if because you're not the only person that bought into that estate, a lot of people bought into that estate. So for those who paid early, they might most times they might get their own plots within that title. But for those who pay later, they may fall outside the title. And the question is, they don't care whether your land is outside the title or within the title. It's business here in Lagos, Nigeria. So this is why you need to understand how the real estate game works here. It's a thing of personal interest over your own interest. So delaying statutory fees is not a good idea. In case you're hearing this for the first time, it's not. So when you buy a property, make sure you pay the statutory fees. Make sure you get your plot within that title that the property has. If it is excision, pay your statutory fees as soon as possible so that you can get your property within that same title. In cases where they have phase one, phase two, phase three, the probability of you or of your plot not falling within that title, if you are going for a phase two or phase three, is high, because phase one and phase two most times don't carry the same title. And the reason why they go for all these extension, all these phases, is because they need to stay in business. In most cases, they have oversold and they don't want to hold you property. So what they do is that they go to other places where lands are available, and they sell to do what? To make up for the plot that they've oversold. This is the way it works in Nigeria. This is one of the reasons. So when developers oversell, they do everything possible to stay in business and to allocate people that they have sold to, and their land is not within that area. Another thing I also want you to discover basically is that in most cases, I found out that a lot of people are having issues. Yes, that's the way it's been. It's profit over your interest. So a lot of people they've sold to, they need to allocate as soon as possible. Now, what is now the way forward? What do you need to do? Number one, go and clear all your outstanding and get your allocation as soon as possible. That's number one. Then number two, let this serve as a point of reference. Under no circumstances must you buy an untitled land without having an indemnity clause. You can't. It's just like throwing money into thin air. I've seen situations whereby sometimes, because when these guys sell, they move to another project too. They move to another project. So whether you're having issues in the estate or whatever, it's none of their business. The thing they will tell you basically, if you have to approach it legally, is that, have we not allocated to you? Didn't we give you receipts? In fact, some of them will even tell you that they gave you a form for you to perfect the title. So your failure to perfect the title was the reason why you're having issues. So these are some of the things. So if you are to buy an untitled property, you must go for what we call an indemnity clause. Never buy an untitled property without having an indemnity clause. An indemnity clause is a clause that says that peradventure, if something happens on the property later, maybe 2-3 years ago, the company will have to either reallocate you or refund you. A lot of people buy acres of land. A lot of people buy large volumes of land without going for this clause. It is an error. It is. I know very well that we have to buy because, of course, real estate is still valuable. But if you're doing it in large quantity, you have to offer an indemnity clause. So the indemnity clause protects your interest, it safeguards your interest. So even if, in fact, most times I've seen the reason why, I've seen cases whereby most people, most of these guys are propelled to do the right thing because there's a clause binding them to do so. In some cases, a lot of people have even bought properties without even reading the contract of sale. It is an error. There are some contract of sale that I've read that even if there is problem in the future, the contract of sale still protects the company. These are some of the things you need to know. So number one, clear up all your properties outstandings and get allocation as soon as possible. And in case you fall out in maybe their phase one or you're in a phase two, before they allocate you, get a surveyor to confirm the status of the phase two or the phase three or whatever phases you have been allocated. This is just very important. And in cases when your property is free, there are no issues, start working on title perfection. See, I've said it several times, no state in Nigeria has the highest history of land grabbing than Lagos State. I just understood the reason why some places will be excised and some places will not be excised. I've seen several instances whereby some places will have gazettes and some plots of land will fall outside the gazette. I've seen instances whereby the C of O might just cover 5 plots and they use the entire C of O title to say the entire plot. So the thing is, you don't just relax based on what you have been told. You must take proactive step to safeguard your interests. So these are some of the things you need to do. So in the cases where the title is perfect, get your Form 1C. A Form 1C is the document that real estate gives you, and you start using that form for title perfection. Even if it take you, even if all you can do at the moment is to get a registered survey in your name, that is a significant progress as long as title perfection is concerned. Don't just sit down for, oh, they told me that government is not coming there in the next 5 years. Who told you? Lagos State. Permit me to use this word. Lagos State, not to follow anybody play. It's a very simple, it's a very serious business here in Lagos. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's series of why some developers have are selling committed. Now, let me reiterate this. Not all real estate developers are doing this. I don't want to be misquoted. Not all developers, but some are doing this. So this is why we want to bring your attention to this so that you can be well prepared, so you can prepare for battle. A little battle. So in case you want to do properties, you want us to get you some verified properties, some properties that you can buy. Of course, even if they are low budget properties that are safe, of course, we are available to do that. Let me also reiterate this. I am not a surveyor. A lot of people have commented on my DM. I am not a surveyor, but I can, of course, I have some list of registered surveyors that I'm working with. So this is where we're going to draw the curtain of why some developers sell committed properties to investors. I hope this has been has been educative enough. I hope you've grabbed a lot of lessons from this, and of course, these are some of the reason why we're here. So in case you have any other information, you want us to help you, of course, I am I sell properties. Mhm. Let me close this episode by saying I sell properties, but I don't sell all properties. I sell properties, I don't sell all properties. So in case you want to do real estate investment, safe, secured real estate investment, or perhaps you have done some investment and you help us, you need somebody to help you verify and of course put some things right. Of course, I can, even if I can't do that, I have some capable hands that can help you do that. And of course, there won't be problem. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening. I still remain Adejari, your number one experienced, seasoned, and professional real estate here in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you very much. See you in my next episode. Of course, I won't review the title of my next episode, but anticipate. Have a nice day. Bye.